You know, I was doing a little history work the last few days, and you look at Reagan and how he blew out Carter in '80. And then, of course, Mondale again there. You look at H.W. Bush on the ascendant. You look at George W. Bush. Those campaigns bear no resemblance to what you and I are witnessing in real time with Trump and Harris, even though a lot of the issues were the same, and some of them were worse. Certainly in 1980, we had stagflation, we had the hostage crisis in Iran, but the tone and the language and the promise was so different. How do you account for that, Paul?
Well, the tone was pretty bad in 1982, and I was there.
I know.
Was part of
That's
the
why I'm
Reagan
asking
team. And really, he was called, a loose cannon. He was the Democrat establishment was trying to define him as a cowboy and somebody who with his hand on a nuclear weapon would destroy the world. I mean, it was pretty intense stuff as well back then. And it wasn't until the American people finally saw Reagan and Carter face to face in the only debate that happened about 10 days before the election, that they decided, I think they're deciding in this election, that they want somebody who can handle the issues they care about. So when they sized up that Reagan was presidential material, the issue agenda, which was very similar, as you said, the economy, stagflation, the war in Iraq with Iran, the floor fell out of Carter, and Reagan romped to a big victory. We're seeing the same thing here. I mean, in many respects, I've been comparing this to 1980 because you've got an unpopular president, a president who's not viewed as having succeeded on some of the major issues of the time, like inflation, like the border, like the two wars going on overseas. And you have a candidate now, which is the unique part of history, that actually has been president before with a record that can be measured up against the current administration of Biden-Harris. She had an opportunity in August to begin to define who she was. And as of today, she still hasn't done that. And why I can't understand, other than the fact that she doesn't know how to disassociate herself from the failed record of her administration. When she says turn a page, I laugh, because what's she turning a page on? On her government, on her administration.
No, I get it.
And Jamie Raskin can say that what they went through in August was a democratic process. I mean, he's a very slick and persuasive person, but that's a hard swallow.
Right.
To say that coup d'état, and tonight, she's on the eclipse talking, and you know where Biden is? He's in the White House from the balcony, probably watching it, because he wasn't invited to the rally.
No, I don't know.
I mean, I find that pretty
I don't know
rich.
about that, but it is a weird situation for the Democrats. There's no question about it. Let me ask you something else that you'll have unique perspective on. As a Trump supporter, let's say he wins. What can you tell this audience, which is overweighted independent? Let me be clear about that. I'm not saying overweight independents. I keep getting criticized for that. Overweighted, meaning we are disproportionately independent in this audience. It's not a crack. What do you have to say to them that will reassure them that if Trump were to be elected, he could work with the other side, that it will not just be American carnage part 2?
This next term is the legacy term for Donald Trump. And for those who think, he only cares about himself, well, there's a good reason to think he'll reach out to the other side because he knows that this term is important for his legacy. But more important than that, he's running to change, to get back to where he had the country pre-COVID in his first term. And so to people who say, well, why will he ever give up power? He gave up power. He may have objected to the election, but on January 20th at 12 o'clock, he walked off the stage and got on a plane and flew to Florida. And so he's proven already that he will leave office when his term is up. He doesn't have to agree with the results of an election to prove he's a Democrat. He proved it. Now, as far as working with the other side is concerned, I mean, I found it interesting because you asked a good question to Congressman Raskin. He didn't answer it. You said, will you work with the other side? And he said, well, let me answer the first question first, and started defending the way in which Harris became the candidate. I mean, I caught that. But you know what? You know, there is a lot of work that goes on that you don't see in the headlines.
Yes. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.